Let's talk about a question that gets right to the core of who we are. It's not about your public face or who you are at work or with friends. It's about who you are when the doors are closed, the phone is off, and there is no one else around. We're going to explore the incredible power that's hidden in being truly and honorably alone. All right, let's just get right into it with a question that, might sting a little. A relationship ends, your friends go home, the house is finally quiet, and what happens? You collapse. The routine just disappears, the standards plummet, and suddenly you're living in days-old pajamas on the couch. It really forces you to ask a tough question. Was all of that, your value, your discipline, your self-respect, was it all just a performance for someone else? And this gets to a fundamental truth, doesn't it? We like to think our character is all about the big moments, the public victories. But the real test, the purest measure of who you really are, it's what you do when there's no applause, no one to impress, no one watching at all. It's in those quiet moments that you find out if your principles are actually yours, or if they were just part of the costume. So, how do we build a character that doesn't just fall apart in private? Well, the key is this huge shift in perspective. We have to stop performing for the world and start living for a totally different audience, the one inside our own head. The ancient Stoics had this figured out thousands of years ago. They looked at life like it was this grand play, a stage where we all have a part. But they were insistent on one thing. The most important critic, the only one whose opinion actually matters, isn't sitting in the audience. It's your own conscience. It's that inner witness. Being honest with your own soul, that's the highest virtue. And Seneca just puts it perfectly here. This isn't about being arrogant or cocky. It's about self-reverence. It means you hold yourself to the same standard as the wisest, most honorable person you can possibly imagine. And then you have that aha moment where you realize that person is you. You're the one you have to answer to at the end of the day. The Stoics even had a specific name for this internal authority, the Hegemonikon. It literally means the ruling center. Just think of it like the command center of your soul, an inner fortress. It's the part of you that stays loyal to your principles, your values, your honor, no matter if anyone is around to give you a gold star for it or not. Fast forward a couple thousand years, and the psychologist Carl Jung gave us a more modern way to look at this. He talked about the persona. That's the social mask we all have to wear to get by in the world. And that's fine, it's necessary. But the real danger, he warned, is when we start to mistake that mask for our true self. If you completely fall apart the second you're alone, that's a huge warning sign that you've been living entirely for your persona, existing only through the eyes of other people. This all leads to this incredibly powerful, almost defiant image, setting a beautiful table just for you, cooking your favorite meal, using your best plates, even when no one's there to see it. This is not some sad, lonely act. It's a declaration of independence. It's a silent, powerful challenge to a world that's constantly telling you that your value is tied to who you're with. Okay, so we get the philosophy, but how do we actually put this into practice, right? It's not enough to just think about these things. We have to actively forge this inner kingdom, and that takes deliberate, concrete actions. It takes rituals. Building this kind of internal integrity is an active process. You can't just wish it into existence. You have to build it, brick by brick, with intentional acts that prove your own self-worth to yourself. You have to create your own ceremonies of self-respect. So here's a practical way to think about it, the Solitude Honor List. It's built on 3 core pillars. First, we need to reframe self-care, not as an indulgence, but as a sacred right. Second, we need to see the order around us, in our homes, as a direct statement of our internal order. And third, we have to understand that true personal discipline, well, that's the ultimate form of freedom. Let's start with self-care. Again, this isn't about bubble baths necessarily, it's about ceremony. When you prepare a good meal and you eat it from your best plate, even when you're all alone, you are performing a profound ritual. You're communicating with your deepest self, and you're saying, I am worthy of this effort. I am important to me. And then there's discipline. Waking up on time, making your bed, sticking to your workout plan when nobody is there to check on you. This is not punishment, this is liberation. Every single one of those acts is proof that your commitment is your own. It doesn't depend on anyone else's presence or approval. That is what real freedom feels like. And hey, this is not some new age idea. Philosophers, warriors, thinkers all through history have understood this. You had Immanuel Kant telling us to be a law unto ourselves, to create our own moral code from the inside out. The legendary samurai Miyamoto Musashi taught that discipline isn't something you put on and take off like a jacket. It's a state of being. And Montaigne, he just summed it all up perfectly. The greatest achievement in life is to simply know how to belong to oneself.
So what's the end game here? Where does all this lead? It leads you to creating an unshakable inner authority. It leads you to becoming the absolute sovereign, the king or queen of your own life.
This right here, this is the ultimate payoff. A person who builds this inner fortress, who maintains their dignity when no one is watching, becomes unbreakable. And why? Because their sense of worth is no longer outsourced. Think about it. If you aren't fueled by the attention of others, you can't be starved by their indifference. You become your own source of validation, your own power plant. So I want you to remember this. The noblest version of you, the truest version of you, is the one on display when you are the only one in the room. Forget the external stage. Forget the fickle crowd. The real performance is for an audience of one. You are the ruler of your inner kingdom, the supreme authority, and the only spectator who really, truly matters. You are both the king and the sole audience of your own life. Never forget that.